Hi, this is Ed in San Diego, California. We're just about 8 miles north of the Mexican Baja border, situated along the Pacific Ocean. Our special guest today is from Stockholm, Sweden, Johanna LENNARTSON, the managing director at NIMMERSION. That's not NIMMERSION, NIMMERSION AB, and the motto is smooth arrival, easy living, swift departure. Service is the key. They pride themselves on customer service. Relocation, particularly international mobility, is full of potholes, trials and tribulations. Never mind change of time zones, change of cultures, just a sense of being the other. You need guidance. Johanna Lennartson and her team at NIMMERSION in Stockholm excel at customer service. I call it people care. We're going to learn all about that. Another model, a logo, a brand that she likes to talk about is this. I'm going to read it. Quality in every detail, heart in every move. We'll be right back with Johanna Lennartson in Stockholm, Sweden, only on Global Business News TV. Thank you. Hi, this is Ed, and we're talking with Johanna Lennartson in Stockholm, Sweden. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Wonderful to see you. So it's 5:30 where you are, about 8:30 here in California. NIMMERSION. It's a very
Yes.
interesting name. NIMMERSION. NIMMERSION. How did you come up with that name?
Well, I didn't actually. That was not me, but from the beginning we were actually called newcomers, immigration and relocation. And that comes from a book that our founder wrote when she that was called the Newcomers Handbook. And she moved back home to Sweden in 1995. She was an expat kid that moved all over the world and lived in different countries and studied in the US and UK. And she moved back to Sweden and she felt that was really weird. And she didn't really know, the culture, even though she was Swedish, she has not lived here for a long time. She didn't know where to go to eat or to a museum or how to register properly and such. So she wrote a book about it, which she then approached to the large corporations that moved expats to Sweden at that time. And they asked her to not only, sell them the book to the expats, but also help them to do it. Help them with their relocation to Sweden. And at that time, it didn't really exist in Sweden. So she was the first to provide the immigration and relocation services. And that's the foundation of the company. And then we changed the name along the way. But NIM is still for Newcomers Immigration Mobility and something that you immerse yourself, right? So
Right.
that became NIMMERSION in about 2016, I think. So that's the name we've had for the past.
So she had, Elena, had a firsthand experience in being quote unquote lost and needing assistance. And where was it? It wasn't available in most cases. And this
And
is a very
also,
believable story, tell, and I'm sure that's a key reason why the success happened quickly.
Yes, yeah, I think so. And even though she was Swedish, moving back home to Sweden, she probably felt that, they would not be necessary with the support. But then she felt that if it's that tricky for her, it must be tricky for someone coming from another country moving here. So that's why she got the idea and wrote a book.
Yeah. And so what it is authenticity, honesty. I call all of that people care.
Yeah,
Yeah. Just everybody in the industry understands this instantaneously, but until you have that experience or live it through someone else's eyes, you have no idea, no clue about the difficulties. And then it becomes
yeah.
painfully obvious.
Mm-hmm. No,
Yeah.
I think if you don't know the area, it's not something that you really think of how people actually do it. So I feel it's always a lot to explain when people ask you, so what do you do? And I usually say, how much time do you have? Because it's not so easy to explain. And they're like, oh, right, yeah, that must be difficult. Yeah, it is quite difficult moving to a new country. It's just not something that happens, or that you just book a flight ticket, or that you find somewhere to stay at Airbnb. It's so much more to do. And
Yeah, so it's come to light with the new generation, the kids who have been relocated seemingly easy from New York to London, and yet everything is different. The language is similar, but cultural way different, and fitting in and not knowing anybody. This is, and then meeting some people, but always being the outside or the other rather than part of it.
yeah.
And that takes a long time.
Absolutely. But I also think that's why, you still need a relocation company so much. And, some people say, oh, well, they find the information with ChatGPT or something like that. But ChatGPT doesn't hold your hand when you go to the tax office. And I'm
That's
not
for
there
sure.
in person to help you to fill in that form or to to tell you those extra things what others have been through or connect you to others that have moved. And that's something that we try to do as well when you feel like, okay, so that person really needs some support, or we know that we recently relocated someone from that country. Um, and try to connect them, and always of course ask them beforehand, but help them to find friends, or people to lean on. That's I
Yeah.
feel really important, so you don't feel lonely, because you want to settle in as quickly as possible. And that's I think that's a success if they stay. If they feel at home and they feel supported, they usually stay longer in the country where they move to, rather than if they are not, of course, and also do a much better job. And that's why they are here, right? To focus on their new role and career, and to support that company that they are working for.
So the company, the home office, welcomes you, welcomes your approach, and gets it. Yes.
Yes, yes,
Yeah, and they're willing to pay for it.
yes, they are. I mean, yeah, no, definitely.
Good. That no. Well, you think it's
Otherwise,
so
we wouldn't have a
obvious.
business, I guess.
Things like it's so obvious, but but oftentimes a lot of people don't understand what relocation is all about, and they just need a job done and giving somebody a great opportunity, blah blah blah, but they don't understand until it happens.
No, but also if you're the one, I mean, they are usually the ones that get the questions if they don't have a relocation company to answer them. Because some questions, as I said, cannot really be asked to ChatGPT or some other AI platform or Google or whatever. So when they notice that they get a lot of questions and this is really tough, then they are usually very happy to pay a provider to do so. And I mean, the amount of work that we do every year with number of immigration and relocation files is, then we have so much more knowledge than you might get if you have maybe 5 or 10 or 20. relocations per year that you support in-house.
So let me ask you a question about the volume and the type of relocation that's going on now and has been going on into Sweden. And
Mm-hmm.
is it how in general, what is the percentage of just single people being relocated, no family? And what is the percentage with teenage kids accompanying you?
Ooh, I'm not sure if I
Or
have
just guess,
that
just guess.
percentage, but I would say for single people, maybe half almost, maybe 40%. It's quite high because it's a lot of tech people relocating to Sweden, a lot of
Yeah,
young uh,
younger.
engineers and IT specialists. So a lot of them are singles. Um, for teenagers, more than it used to, I would say. It used to be, when it was all those expat families moving around. That doesn't really happen that much, but then Stockholm was usually very early in their career. So they usually have young children or had children when they have moved to Stockholm. Not that many teenagers. It's more teenagers today, I would say. Even though it is a bit tricky with the whole residence permit, permanent residency situation that we have in Sweden currently, where a child can only accompany you up to the age of 18 if the parents apply for permanent residency. If they don't, if they apply for work and residence permit, they can accompany you up to the age of 26. So that is a bit tricky at the moment, but the government is looking into it and will hopefully change it this year very soon. But it scares some families away, even though there is a solution. But for many that move, their goal is often, if they move to start a new life in another country, the goal is often to receive permanent residency and citizenship. And then that's a tiny bump in the road if the children are getting close to 18.
So if there is permanent residency, then they qualify uh, at at some fee or to get the national insurance and other benefits.
You get that immediately if you have a permit longer than 1 year. So then you register for Swedish personal number and you get all the benefits that we have as Swedes living in Sweden. Yes. So you don't need a permanent residency, but of course it's more secure for you and you have more rights with a permanent residency than a regular working residence permit. And you can then also freely change employers or change your role, and you don't have to submit an application every second year to immigration agency and ask them to check if your employer and yourself fulfill all requirements to be able to stay longer in Sweden. If you have permanent residency, you just have to update your card every third year, and then you can apply for citizenship after 5 years currently. But from June, it might be 8 years. It's still not decided yet, but there is a suggestion that they will extend that time.
Interesting. I would think that's a real positive. It's probably a hassle to get involved with, but the benefits just sound wonderful.
Yeah.
To what
Yeah.
extent do you get involved in taking care of the transferee and family that accompany? Do you set up coffees or teas or get-togethers to bring people together, or do you basically hands off that? In other words, taking care of the people once they arrive, especially the early days.
Yes, there are some. I think most companies do have some networks that do those coffee shops and stuff. I know that we did a lot during the pandemic. After the pandemic, we're not really started with those get-togethers after they move. Not at least after they are settled, not together with others, but we definitely do it with those that we assist because we meet them so many times because we often sit down and have a coffee or a tea when we go to the bank or when we go to the tax office or when they have moved into their apartment, just to make sure that they, all questions are being answered, they feel supported, and then get that extra time with them where they can ask just anything basically about life in Sweden and such questions they have.
So your motto here that I'm reading, smooth arrival, easy living, swift departure. In other words, no hassles.
Houses?
Yeah, difficulties, challenges.
Well, there always is, right?
Right. Okay.
Right? It doesn't always depend on us, often not, but it can be a difficult landlord, or it can be a migration agency, or the tax office, or the internet provider, or something will happen. I think that's very. Then it comes to the expectations, and I know that Hilton has a saying of, location, 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 and we have a saying that's expectation, expectation, expectation. So it's really important to early let them know that things will probably go wrong. That usually happens, and it will be out of our control, and it will be out of their control, but we will be there to work it out for them and support them best way possible. And I think that's the best you can do. Let them know that you care and that you will do your best to help them. Then they will still feel that you have done a great part of your job, and help them to, you know, go through everything they need to go through before they are settled in.
So it just seems like a no-brainer. It just seems like it's so obvious, but that coming from you just now, out to the audience that will see this in subsequent days, weeks, and months because of our distribution across the internet,
Mm-hmm.
and to many corporations who follow what I'm doing on YouTube and LinkedIn. That's a wonderful message. And it just seems so obvious, but just
Yeah, I
knowing
know.
that you care
I
and you
know.
you put it out front and you wear it on your blouse, this is
Yeah.
guaranteed going to happen.
But I think, I mean, this is something that we have been working on for so long. I know I've been working in this company for almost 20 years. It's a very long time. But I remember that was about the first thing that I learned. And I remember who it was as well. It was a French woman, and she was going to move to Stockholm. And I know when they get married, they still keep their maiden name in the passport. So the tax agency registered her with her maiden name and not her married name. And that was such a big thing for her that they got that incorrectly. Well, they did it right, but for her it was not correct. And I remember I assisted her, and this was a form you need to fill in and such, and she was still upset until I understood that, she wanted that compassion. She wanted to feel that I care, not only that I helped her, but also that that I had that compassion for her, that I understood that this is difficult, this is something extra she needs to do. And she was offended. And it was not until that moment I understand that you really need to, even though I did care, I probably didn't show it enough. And people are in such a vulnerable situation. It's so stressful to move, and it's so much they need to think of and do. And so they need that support. They needed to know that they can trust you and that you will support them fully. And I think that that's what we try to build within the company, that also for your consultants to do so, they need to make sure that they have enough time and resources to be able to deliver and live up to our clients' expectations. And you as a leader need to set the example and make sure that you create that environment for them. And I know it's a very old saying, but if your employees are happy and love what they do, they will take care of your clients as well the same way, and their clients will feel cared of and supported. And I think it says itself that if your consultants don't have the time to support your clients in that, with that extra care, there will be no, great service delivered, right? Then you will get to support, but it's not they will not feel very well taken care of, probably.
So you have instilled this into your training program, so
Yes.
that the consultants that work for you, who actually have one-on-one contact,
Mm-hmm.
uh, because oftentimes that's what it is. It's not you; it's your consultants.
Yeah. I
They
run a
they really have to be trained.
yeah, they are great.
Yeah.
But yes, we do, and I run a service excellence session every year for all my staff to remind them of that this is really important, and that also what differs us from others, hopefully, that we do deliver very good service to our clients. And I think that the feedback from our clients are the proof of it. It's not always been, but it's brilliant, and it has been for a long time. And I think it's important to get that feedback from the clients. And before, we didn't get enough surveys back when we sent it out and to ask for feedback. So what we did was that we then said that if you reply to this survey, we will donate money to the Children's Cancer Fund, which we do every year. And I think that it's important to get their feedback. You need to listen to your clients and change whatever possible when it's something that they feel could be better. And we get great feedback, and every Friday afternoon we share that with the team. So all the feedback that we receive during the week, we send out to everyone on Friday afternoon as a celebration just before the weekend, how well everyone's done that week. Um, and last year we actually had service excellence rate of 98.6% of all the feedback that we received back, which is
Bravo. That's terrific. Well, it's almost embarrassing, but it's really where in America the slogan where the rubber meets the road. In other words, that's that's the
yeah,
win right there.
yeah, you
Because
kind
some
of
people will feel um, embarrassed for asking for that kind of guidance. Uh, that they feel ashamed or just you which of course from your counseling and your services motto and emphasis, that should be right up front. There is no such thing as feeling ashamed or not worthy. You deserve that care. Ask
yeah.
if you need something. and
Mhm.
and and a lot of people, and I would say a lot of women, are they feel embarrassed, or they feel, uh, oh, I don't want to hurt people or put people out, and I don't want to have to feel all this. And why am I here?
Yeah.
And I want to go home. Just because of these little things, but they add up to some people. So the training and the explanation of what the training actually means, this is this is really wonderful to hear for me, because I know a lot of other companies say they do this, but they don't do it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think you have to do it. That's why, the companies choose you as their provider over and over again, because they know that not only they are getting supported, but they, get quick answers and to their questions when it's a crucial recruitment that they do and they don't have much time, but they still need, us to answer really quick questions so they can complete that recruitment. And but also that I know that their employees are very well taken care of, so that they can just leave it with us. They don't have to worry about it. They know we're going to contact them if something happens or if there is something they need to know. And that's
Uh,
really what
Thank you.
that's really what they are buying, right?
Yeah,
So
thank you for that. Our time is coming to a close in about 8 or 10 minutes. So there's a couple of things. One of your bullet points that you alerted me to a few days ago is managing talents in Sweden. What is that about?
Yeah, yeah, I can wonder, but I think you know, it's certain things that they need to probably think of recruiting people to Sweden, or it's a lot of questions that we get from people moving here. I mean, of course, they've heard so much about the country and they've read so much about the country, but it's often always it depends on wherever you are. It's so different reading about something, but then also than moving here. And but I think also that Sweden is it's a very welcoming country for people moving here. It's everyone speaks English, for example. It's a very nice work and life balance. You know, we have very long parental leave. No one cares if you leave early to pick up your child, which most people do. We have long vacation in the summer. It's by law, the employer needs to give employees at least 4 weeks vacation in a row between June, July, and August. Um, People often stay longer than expected when they come to Sweden, which is great. But of course, they always ask, how dark do you get in winter? How cold does it get, and such. But I think that if you learn to embrace all the four seasons that we have, and you get out during winter and do learn how to ski and ice skate or whatever you do during winter, I think it's wonderful. But also, I think work wise, it's um, even if it's early in your career, we have a very flat hierarchy in Sweden, which gives you the opportunities to be invited to meetings that you might not be attending in other countries, for example. So I think there is a great opportunity for for young specialists and engineers or other occupations moving to Sweden to develop and to make a really great career here.
Well, that's excellent response. Thank you very much. All right, so we've covered service excellence
Mm.
and about adapting and fitting in a proactive way, and current status in Sweden's immigration. Uh, you've gone through this a little bit here. It's a little tricky, and that the counseling is where you really help people through that.
Yes, definitely. I mean, I think immigration is tricky, and it's been so many changes for the past years that I know some companies are a bit worried about relocating employees that need work permits to Sweden because they just read in media and they hear about how difficult it is and they are being deported if you don't fulfill all requirements and such. And yes, I understand it, but that's why you need us, right? If you know how to do and you can do it right, it's still not that difficult to relocate someone from a country where you need work permits. You just need to make sure that you again have the right expectations and you know the process. And I know that the government wants, they want to encourage highly skilled workers to move to Sweden. So they are still trying to make it bit easier for them, even though some changes that they make do affect them as well. But I think they put a quite a high salary threshold already 2 years ago, and they want to increase that in June, which also then might also affect some highly skilled workers, even though that it's mostly other occupations that will be affected. Um, but I think also that they started to understand that they need to be to adjust a bit of what we've recently changed to be able to be more attractive to talents moving to Sweden. So hopefully that will be the message onwards.
Well, thank you very much for being our special guest today and for going into this deep dive about Sweden and relocating into Sweden. And your company name again is NIMMERSION, 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 AB, and of course, NIMMERSION.com. Johanna Lennartson, thank you so much. I'll get you the video and the audio and the speaker's notes later in my day. And
Yeah, wonderful.
come back again,
Of
please.
course. Yes, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye
Bye
bye.
bye. This is Ed signing off in San Diego, California. And thank you.